The book I Am Number 4 begins with a scene of tension and danger. Number 3, one of the Loriens is found and killed by the Mogadorians in a forest. This death activates a scar on the ankle of John Smith, a young Lorien who, along with his guardian Henry, lives on Earth, hiding and constantly on the run from the Mogadorians. John understands what this means. He is next on the list. The Mogadorians, relentless enemies who destroyed the planet Lorien, are hunting the 9 young survivors who escaped to Earth. Each of them has a number, and they can only be killed in the correct order. With number 3 dead, John number 4 is in imminent danger. Henry and John, already accustomed to life on the run, leave their home in Florida and move to a new town, Paradise, Ohio. There, they try to settle in under new identities, with John adopting the name John Smith. On his first day at the new school, he tries to keep a low profile, but inevitably gets noticed. He meets Sarah, a kind and creative girl with a passion for photography, who quickly catches his interest. Sarah happens to be the ex-girlfriend of Mark James, one of the most popular guys at school and also its resident bully, who starts picking on John from the very beginning. At the same time, John befriends Sam Good, a reserved and introspective boy with a passion for conspiracy theories, especially those involving aliens. Curiously, Sam soon starts to suspect that John might be hiding a secret, as he notices John displaying extraordinary strength and agility. Despite the constant danger surrounding him, John begins to feel that Paradise is more than just another temporary refuge. He feels a special connection with Sarah and Sam, and gradually, the desire to stay and lead a normal life starts to grow. But the tranquility doesn't last long. Soon John's legacies, his special powers inherited from his Lorien lineage, begin to emerge. The first of these is the lumen, the ability to make his hands glow brightly and become resistant to fire. Frightened and unable to control them, he tries to hide these powers from others. However, Henry explains that it's time to start training, as these gifts will be crucial for his survival against the Mogadorians. As John tries to balance the emergence of his powers with his school life, he grows closer to Sarah, and they quickly develop a romance. However, this sparks Mark's jealousy, leading him to escalate his provocations. At one point, Mark sets up an ambush for John at a school party. Struggling to keep his powers hidden, John defends himself, inadvertently drawing more suspicion from his classmates. From that moment on, it becomes clear that Henry is right. John cannot afford to let his guard down. Things take a turn for the worse when Henry discovers that the Mogadorians are monitoring strange news and investigations that might reveal the presence of the Loriens. One such lead brings him to an abandoned warehouse, where he finds evidence that the Mogadorians are closing in. This heightens the conflict between Henri, who insists on fleeing immediately, and John, who wants to stay in Paradise for Sarah and his newfound friends. During a Halloween school event, John takes a risk and goes to the school park with Sarah. They end up separating from the group, and John is forced to use his powers to save her from an accident. In the process, he accidentally reveals his lumen, and Sarah finally realizes that John is someone extraordinary. Instead of rejecting him, she shows understanding and promises to keep his secret. However, this incident does not go unnoticed by the Mogadorians, who sense that something unusual is happening in Paradise and begin to make their move. At a critical moment, John's training is interrupted when Henry is captured. He is taken to a Mogadorian hideout, where they plan to extract information about the other Loriens from him. Desperate, John teams up with Sam to rescue Henry. Their friendship deepens, and Sam, who has always believed in aliens, now sees the truth with his own eyes and is willing to risk everything to help John. From that point on, a series of confrontations unfolds. John, Henry, and Sam face off against the Mogadorians, and while they manage to rescue Henry, the battle is intense and puts the group in grave danger. It is during this time that number 6, one of the surviving Loriens, arrives in Paradise to assist John. She is brave, powerful, and possesses exceptional combat skills. Having been on her own since the death of her guardian, she has learned to defend herself and is determined to gather the other Loriens to fight against the Mogadorians. The climax occurs in an intense battle at the Paradise School, where John, Six, and Henry face off against the Mogadorians. The fight is action-packed, with the Loriens using their newly developed abilities, and Six demonstrating the result of years of survival. During the battle, John realizes that he still has much to learn about his legacies, but he also understands the importance of fighting alongside people he trusts. The battle ends with the destruction of the school, and John, Six, and Sam must leave Paradise, as their identities and location have been exposed. In a painful farewell, John promises Sarah that he will return someday. He leaves with Sam and Six, now determined to find the other Loriens, strengthen his powers, and prepare for the greater battle ahead against the Mogadorians. Thus, I Am Number 4 ends with a mix of loss, growth, and hope as John embarks on a new phase of his journey, more aware of his role and determined to fight for the survival of his species. The narrative of The Power of Six begins by dividing its focus between the life of Marina, number 7, in an isolated convent in Spain, and John Smith, number 4, who is on the run in the United States after a devastating battle against the Mogadorians. Marina, trapped in the rigid routine of the convent, feels the urgency to train and develop her legacies, while her Cêpans, Adelina, rejects the purpose of their original mission and embraces a life devoted to religion. Adelina, once her protector and guide, seems to have abandoned Lorien and its fight, leaving Marina feeling alone and helpless. Marina begins exploring the outside world through the internet, where she comes across news about John Smith, whose abilities and deeds have caught the attention of the media. Recognizing him as one of the guards, she feels hopeful that he could provide the support and guidance she no longer finds in Adelina. Meanwhile, John is on the run, accompanied by Six, his fellow guard, and Sam, his loyal human friend, who has chosen to join them in their quest to find other members of the Guard. Despite mourning the loss of his Cêpans, Henri, John is forced to take on the role of leader and protector for Six and Sam, while training and honing his legacies to face the Mogadorians. John's group, consisting of Six and Sam, continues their perilous journey, trying to evade the Mogadorian hunters who have intensified their pursuit of the Guards. Six demonstrates remarkable skills and a strength that both motivates and challenges John. She becomes a role model for him, revealing herself to be an experienced warrior, having also lost her Cêpans, Katerina, after years on the run. Their training is rigorous, and their partnership strengthens their chances of survival. However, it also stirs emotions and tensions within John, who still thinks about Sarah, his human girlfriend he left behind. Through a series of intense events, Marina finally develops some of her legacies and begins preparing to leave the convent in search of John. She makes several attempts to convince Adelina to help her leave and believe in Lorien's revival, but Adelina, consumed by her newfound faith, constantly reprimands and discourages her. Frustrated and increasingly aware of the looming danger, Marina decides to leave on her own. At the same time, the small town where she lives in Spain is shaken when Mogadorians begin to appear, and Marina realizes they may be getting closer to finding her. Meanwhile, in the United States, John and his group face unexpected battles and are forced to flee once again. They discover they are being hunted not only by the Mogadorians, but also by local authorities, who view them as a terrorist threat. John and Six must use their abilities to manipulate the situation and escape, but the net around them continues to tighten. During one of the confrontations, Sam proves his worth by directly engaging in the fight, supporting the guards, and demonstrating his determination to help them. The character's journey is marked by a growing sense of urgency. As the Mogadorians' attacks intensify, the remaining guards begin to realize that coming together is crucial for their chance of victory. Marina undergoes a transformation throughout the story, evolving from a repressed and insecure young woman into a determined warrior ready to embrace her destiny. She grows emotionally stronger and gains the confidence needed to fight for Lorien and her own survival. In the end, Marina and John's paths begin to converge, but the tension reaches its peak when the Mogadorians launch a more coordinated and brutal attack. The battle is relentless, and the guards must use all their skill and courage to resist. The conclusion of the book leaves a sense of hope with the union of some of the guards, but also a feeling that even greater challenges lie ahead. The story ends with the group determined to find the remaining guards, strengthened by the belief that together they possess the power of Six, the only hope of facing the Mogadorian threat and saving both Lorien and Earth. This second volume expands the universe of the Guards, introducing new characters, developing the bonds between them, and building the tension for the final confrontation with the Mogadorians. The details of the battles, the personal dilemmas, and the emotional intensity of the characters make the narrative captivating, and the plot moves at a fast pace, exploring drama, friendship, and the fight for a greater purpose. The book The Rise of Nine by Pittacus Lore, the third in the Lorien Legacies series, blends intense action, deep emotions, and surprising discoveries. The narrative continues the saga of a group of young alien exiles on Earth, known as the Guard, as they fight to survive and protect their home planet, Lorien, from the invading Mogadorians. The story begins with Marina number 6 and Ella escaping a Mogadorian attack. Guided by Creighton, they set out to find number 8, a guard hidden in the Himalayas. Marina number 7 sits next to Ella and number 6 on a plane. They are on high alert, fleeing after a violent battle at the lake in Spain, where Marina lost her Cêpans, mentor, and her friend Hector. The tension is palpable. Any passenger on the plane could be an enemy in disguise. Their conversation reveals the weight of grief and their determination to avenge those they've lost, while Creighton, Ella's protector, carefully monitors their surroundings. Meanwhile, in a different setting, John Smith, number 4, is injured and emotionally devastated. He is hiding in a derelict house with 9, a rebellious and impulsive guard. Intense flashbacks show John reliving the death of his Cêpans, Henri, and the capture of Sam, his best human friend, by the Mogadorians. John struggles with guilt and his desire to rescue Sam, while 9, with his arrogant demeanor, provokes and challenges him to focus on the larger war. As John and 9 struggle to survive in the US, Marina, 6, Ella, and Creighton embark on a mission to find number 8, rumored to be hiding in the Himalayan mountains. They arrive in India and face the chaotic intensity of New Delhi. The group moves through overcrowded streets, avoiding suspicious looks and potential Mogadorian spies. The tension rises when their taxi is intercepted by armed men. After an initially hostile encounter, the men reveal themselves as followers of number 8, revered locally as a Hindu deity. Accompanied by Commander Sharma, the Guard are led along a dangerous road to a mountain hideout. Along the way, a Mogadorian airstrike destroys part of the convoy, forcing a desperate escape. Marina fights to protect her chest and save Ella, while 6 leads the resistance against their attackers. Upon reaching number 8, they meet a charismatic and free-spirited young man with extraordinary abilities such as teleportation and shape-shifting. He shows them his hideout, filled with symbols and relics that hint at his importance in the fight against the Mogadorians. The interaction between Marina and 8 is marked by mutual admiration, while 6 immediately recognizes him as a valuable ally. Training begins. The Guard test their legacies and learn to work as a team. Marina, who was hesitant to use her powers, discovers new healing abilities and begins to gain confidence. Ella tries to awaken her own legacies, frustrated by their delay. 6, always the leader, teaches combat strategies and encourages Marina to overcome her fears. Creighton shares stories about Lorien and Cêpans Ra, revealing the legend that one of the Guard will inherit the complete powers of Pittacus Lore, the strongest of Lorien's elders. Meanwhile, in the US, the dynamic between John and 9 is tense. 9 is impulsive, carefree, and challenging, while John, weakened, struggles to control his anger and frustration. They face Mogadorian attacks sporadically, and 9's overwhelming strength is evident. Even so, John hesitates to fully trust him. During a disturbing vision, John sees Sam being tortured by Cêpans Ra in a Mogadorian base. This motivates him to make a dangerous decision. He must return to the mountain to rescue him. 9 disagrees, believing that risking everything for a human is reckless, but John insists. Their relationship reaches a breaking point, but ultimately, 9 reluctantly agrees to help. The Guard in the Himalayas are attacked by Mogadorians led by Cêpans Ra. The battle is intense and cinematic, with each Guard showcasing their unique abilities. Marina heals the injured and uses her telekinesis to create barriers, while 6 manipulates the weather to summon a lightning storm. Number 8 uses his teleportation to disorient enemies, while Creighton sacrifices himself to protect Ella. Cêpans Ra appears on the battlefield, immense and terrifying. He taunts the Gardes, trying to break their spirit. A direct confrontation between 6 and Cêpans ensues, but he proves too powerful. In a moment of desperation, Ella uses a Loric artifact that activates an unexpected legacy, saving 6 and forcing Cêpans Ra to retreat. Despite the victory, Creighton's loss leaves everyone shaken. Meanwhile, John and 9 infiltrate the Mogadorian base. They face hordes of enemies in narrow corridors, using a mix of brute force and strategy. John finally finds Sam, but Cêpans Ra appears, offering a deal: Sam's life in exchange for John surrendering himself. John hesitates, but 9 intervenes, attacking Cêpans with overwhelming force. During the chaos, John manages to rescue Sam, and the trio narrowly escapes, destroying part of the base in the process. The chemistry between John and 9 evolves from animosity to respect, and Sam proves to be a valuable ally, even amidst the chaos. The book concludes with the remaining Guard reuniting. Creighton's death and the emotional wounds from recent battles are evident, but there is a sense of renewal. Number 8 officially joins the group, and the Guard agree that their only chance of victory is to stay united and train harder than ever. John looks at the others, determined. They want to destroy us because they know what we're capable of. It's time to show them we're not the prey, we're the hunters. The final scene shows Cêpans Ra observing the group through an alien device. He smiles darkly and says they haven't seen anything yet. The 4th volume of the Lorien Legacies series begins with Sam Good, imprisoned in a Mogadorian cell, enduring days of physical and psychological torture. Cêpans Ra personally interrogates him, alternating between promises of mercy and relentless pain. He tries to manipulate Sam, suggesting he's been abandoned by the Guard and will never be rescued. Despite this, Sam holds on to hope, imagining various ways to escape. even without powers. During a daring operation, Adam, a Mogadorian defector, and Malcolm Good, Sam's father, manage to rescue him. Adam is an intriguing character because despite being Mogadorian, he has a strong sense of justice that drives him to fight against his own species. During the rescue, Adam demonstrates strange abilities that suggest he may possess a legacy or something similar. The trio battles Mogadorian soldiers in a chaotic base filled with explosions and fighting. After a risky escape, Adam decides to stay behind to fight the Mogadorians and ensure Sam and Malcolm's safe departure. Sam, overwhelmed with emotion after finally reuniting with his father, vows to honor Adam's sacrifice in their fight. After Sam's rescue, the narrative shifts to the remaining Guard, gathered at Nine's penthouse in Chicago. The group is exhausted after the events in New Mexico, where they faced Cêpans Ra and almost lost everything. John, 4, now seen as the leader, is weighed down by guilt and self-doubt. He obsessively replays the mistakes made, particularly the near deaths of Sarah and Ella, and fears he won't be able to protect the group in the future. Nine's penthouse serves as a temporary refuge, but internal conflicts begin to arise. Nine, with his impulsive and arrogant nature, proposes a direct attack on the Mogadorian bases, while 6 advocates for a strategic approach. Marina, 7, and 8 try to keep the peace, while Ella, still dealing with the trauma from the New Mexico confrontation, begins having disturbing visions of Cêpans Ra. These visions suggest a psychic connection with the Mogadorian leader, which alarms the group. They decide Ella needs rest, but the tension over the meaning of these visions grows. As they discuss their options, Sarah, the only human in the group aside from Sam, tries to be a voice of calm and motivation, particularly for John. There are tender moments between the two, but John struggles to balance his personal relationship with Sarah and his role as a leader. Using a locator left by Henri, the Guard track down number 5 on an island off the coast of Florida. 5 is the only Guard still missing, and finding him fills the group with hope. However, upon meeting him, 5 reveals himself to be an eccentric and enigmatic character. He lived in isolation, protected by his Cêpans, and is disconnected from the camaraderie that binds the other Guard. 5 displays impressive abilities, including flight and gravitational manipulation, but his arrogant and distrustful behavior quickly causes tensions. He seems resentful, believing he was abandoned, and makes passive-aggressive comments that irritate the group, particularly 9. Despite this, John insists they must work together, as every Guard is crucial in the fight against the Mogadorians. As the group tries to integrate 5, signs of his unstable loyalty begin to surface. He avoids questions about his past and appears to know more about the Mogadorians than he should. During training, 5 becomes provocative and hostile, accusing the other Guard of acting superior while he was left to fend for himself. His anger and resentment create an atmosphere of distrust. The tension reaches its peak when the Mogadorians launch a surprise attack on the island. During the confrontation, 5 reveals his true allegiance. He made a deal with Cêpans Ra and betrays the Guard, aiding the Mogadorians in capturing them. The betrayal is devastating and culminates in a brutal battle. 8, trying to protect his companions, confronts 5 and is fatally injured. 8's death is a crushing blow to the group, especially for Marina, who had feelings for him. 5 escapes with the Mogadorians, leaving the group torn between their grief and the urgency to regroup. Marina, consumed by rage, vows vengeance against 5 and Cêpans Ra. John once again feels the heavy burden of guilt as a leader and promises himself he won't allow more losses. Meanwhile, Ella begins to understand more about her connection to Cêpans Ra. She discovers that her visions are not merely premonitions, but a direct psychic link to him. This connection is terrifying, but also provides valuable information about the Mogadorians' plans. Ella faces a dilemma: use this connection to help the group or distance herself to protect her sanity. 6 tries to support her, but Ella feels increasingly isolated, especially after the events on the island. After the devastating events, the Guard are forced to retreat. They return to Chicago, emotionally shaken, but determined to regroup. John realizes that 5's betrayal was partly a consequence of the lack of unity within the group. He decides they need to strengthen their bonds, improve their training, and seek new allies. Adam, who survived Sam's rescue, reappears, bringing crucial information about the Mogadorians. He also becomes a symbol of hope. Despite being Mogadorian, he chose to fight alongside the Guard, proving that unity between species is possible. The book ends with the Guard in a state of renewal, but also uncertainty. They've suffered great losses, but the lessons learned and the growing threat of Cêpans Ra motivate them to press on. 5's betrayal and 8's death serve as painful reminders that the war will be long and brutal, but their determination to protect Earth and honor the sacrifices made keeps them united. The book begins with Ella waking up in a dark and strange environment. She is imprisoned aboard the Anubis, commanded by Cêpans Ra, the Mogadorian leader. Despite her captivity, Ella notices something unsettling. Cêpans Ra does not treat her as an enemy or a common prisoner, but as someone he wants to mold for his own purposes. He calls her my heir and begins to manipulate her psychologically, trying to convince her that she is destined to join the Mogadorian side. On board the ship, Ella is forced to read the Great Mogadorian Book, which describes Cêpans Ra's ideology and his plan to conquer Earth. She also discovers the existence of a massive Mogadorian fleet orbiting the planet, ready to attack at any moment. Despite Cêpans Ra's manipulation, Ella resists, remembering the Guard and trying to establish a telepathic connection with them. Meanwhile, on the planet, the remaining Guard are emotionally and physically fragmented. After the battle in Chicago, where they lost number 8 and saw Ella captured, the group tries to find a purpose. John, number 4, is with 9, Sam, and Adam in Baltimore, taking refuge in an abandoned factory. The dynamic between them is tense. 9, known for his impulsiveness and sarcastic attitude, wants to launch an immediate attack against the Mogadorians, while John tries to lead with more caution. Sam, an ordinary but determined human, strives to prove his worth to the team. Adam, the repentant Mogadorian, faces constant distrust, especially from John. Adam reveals crucial information about the Mogadorian power structure, explaining that the Ashwood Estates base, near Washington, D.C., houses the Mogadorian leaders known as Trueborns. He suggests that attacking this location could weaken the enemy's chain of command and offer a chance to rescue Ella. Marina, 6, and 9 head to Florida in search of clues about the Mogadorians' plans and in an attempt to find allies. During this journey, they face not only external threats, but also devastating internal conflicts. Marina, deeply shaken by 8's death, begins to exhibit cold and calculating behavior, a stark contrast to her previously compassionate personality. Her new power to manipulate ice reflects her frozen emotions, and she gives in to her desire for revenge against 5, who betrayed them. 6, always the strategist and warrior, tries to keep the group united, even as she deals with her own doubts about her ability to lead. When they finally find 5, the confrontation is brutal and emotional. He reveals that his betrayal was motivated by fear. He believes the Mogadorians are invincible, and that submitting to them is the only way to survive. Despite his confession, Marina nearly kills him in a fit of rage, but is restrained by 6, who argues that murdering him will not bring 8 back. Back in Baltimore, John, 9, Sam, and Adam prepare to attack Ashwood Estates. The mission is dangerous and complex, but they know they must take risks to gain an advantage in the war. During the infiltration, they face Vatborns, artificially created Mogadorian soldiers, and highly sophisticated defense systems. Adam, with his insider knowledge of the Mogadorians, guides the group through the underground tunnels, where they discover alarming information about the enemy fleet and Cêpans Ra's role in manipulating human governments. Sam, despite being human, proves essential to the mission by using Mogadorian technology to disable part of the base's defenses. John struggles to keep the group focused, even as he deals with his own doubts about his ability to lead. During the confrontation, they realize that Ashwood Estates is more than a base. It is the heart of the Mogadorian operation on Earth. Aboard the Anubis, Ella manages to use her Drainan power to temporarily disable the ship's control systems and sends a telepathic message to the Guard. She also discovers that Cêpans Ra plans to use her ability to amplify his own power, which makes her even more determined to escape. During an escape attempt, Ella confronts Cêpans Ra, using her powers to weaken him momentarily. However, he quickly retaliates, reasserting his dominance and promising that she will be a key piece in the destruction of the Guard. In the climactic moment, the remaining Guard come together in an epic confrontation with Cêpans Ra and his forces. Ella, still captive, plays a crucial role by sending information that helps the group locate the Mogadorian fleet. The confrontation is marked by loss and sacrifice, but also by moments of heroism. Marina, channeling all her pain, becomes a relentless fighter, while John demonstrates his evolution as a leader, taking risks to protect his friends. Cêpans Ra, however, shows the true extent of his power. He reveals that he has absorbed the legacies of the Guard he has killed, making him nearly invincible. Even so, Ella uses her Drainan again to neutralize him temporarily, allowing the Guard to escape. In the end, the Guard realize they are still far from defeating Cêpans Ra, but they carry new information and a renewed determination. Marina emerges as a transformed figure, stronger and more decisive, while Ella, though still in the enemy's hands, promises herself that she will find a way to escape and help her friends. John accepts his role as leader, committing to unite all the remaining Guard to face the Mogadorian threat once and for all. The Revenge of 7 is a story of resistance, sacrifice, and overcoming. The events are connected by internal and external conflicts arcs that shape the characters, while the plot moves toward an inevitable final confrontation. The narrative balances moments of despair with flashes of hope, setting the stage for the next chapter in this epic saga. The book begins with Earth on the brink of total destruction. After years of preparation, Cêpans Ra, the Mogadorian tyrant, has launched his full-scale invasion. Mogadorian mother ships hover over the world's largest cities, while troops descend to capture humans and sow chaos. New York is one of the primary targets, with streets turned into battlefields. Images of terror, broadcast on TVs and cell phones, show Mogadorian monsters destroying buildings and murdering civilians. This devastation sets the tone of the story. Desperate, yet filled with moments of courage and resistance, the story begins with the perspective of ordinary civilians trying to survive the horror of the invasion. In Harlem, a teenage girl and her stepfather, terrified, follow the news. When the Mogadorians arrive at their building, the stepfather tries to defend her, but is killed. It is at this moment that the girl discovers she has telekinetic powers, an ability she never imagined possessing. She uses this power to repel the aliens and escape, but she is utterly confused about how this is possible. This scene suggests that Lorien's energy, recently awakened, is beginning to spread across Earth and affect ordinary humans. While humans suffer, the Guard become Earth's primary defenders. The narrative follows three distinct groups, each facing their own challenges. John Smith, number 4, leads a small group of survivors in Manhattan. After the grueling battle at the UN, recounted in the previous book, John is physically and emotionally drained. He feels the weight of his choices, especially for failing to kill Cêpans Ra when he had the chance. Despite everything, John continues to fight, determined to save as many people as possible. Sam Good, on the other hand, is undergoing a transformation. During the energy explosion on Lorien, he developed telekinetic powers. Although he doesn't fully understand how to use his new legacies, Sam quickly learns to manipulate objects and assist John in battles. His evolution is one of the most exciting elements of the narrative, as it shows that human resistance is growing stronger. In one particularly gripping scene, John and Sam find survivors hiding in a ruined building. Although they want to protect them, John realizes that he and Sam cannot save everyone. This moral dilemma permeates the entire story. They must choose between fighting the Mogadorians at every turn, or focusing on a larger mission that could save the entire world. While John fights in New York, Six, Marina, and Adam are in Mexico, at the Sanctuary of Calakmul, trying to awaken Lorien's power. The Sanctuary, an ancient structure protected by Loric energy, holds the last hope of defeating Cêpans Ra. When they place the Loric artifacts at the center of the structure, they activate the entity, a living manifestation of the planet Lorien. The entity releases a burst of energy that spreads across Earth. This event is both symbolic and transformative, as it represents Lorien's final attempt to protect the planet. It also awakens powers in ordinary humans, as seen in Sam's case. During this process, Marina has a brief reunion with 8, who is resurrected by the entity for a few minutes. This scene is emotionally devastating, as Marina gets the chance to say goodbye to 8, but must also accept his loss once again. Adam, the Mogadorian who betrayed his race to help the Guard, continues to prove his loyalty. He plays a crucial role in protecting the group and helping them understand Mogadorian technology. However, the group faces a major setback. The Mogadorian Firidun Ra, who survived a previous battle, sabotages their ship and paralyzes Dust, the Chimera. They become stranded in the jungle and must hunt down Firidun Ra to recover the engine parts. In New York, 9 and 5 engage in a brutal fight. 9, always impulsive and irreverent, fights with all his might against 5, whom he sees as an unforgivable traitor. 5, on the other hand, shows signs of remorse but is also filled with anger and confusion. He tries to justify his past actions, but 9 refuses to listen. The fight between them is intense, with both using their legacies to the fullest. However, they are interrupted when Mogadorians surround them. Reluctantly, 9 and 5 must work together to survive. This temporary alliance is fragile but necessary. Throughout the fight, a slight possibility of reconciliation begins to emerge, especially when 5 saves 9 from a fatal attack. After following signs of battle, John and Sam find 9 and 5 surrounded by Mogadorians. A major battle takes place in Union Square, where the Guard unite to defeat the enemies. John, even exhausted, leads the group with courage. Sam uses his new powers to disarm the Mogadorians and protect the survivors. In the jungle, Six and Marina track down the traitorous Mogadorian. The battle against Firidun Ra is brutal, but Six and Marina manage to defeat her and recover the parts needed to repair the ship. This victory is a huge relief, as it allows them to return and assist in the main fight. During the climax, Cêpans Ra makes a devastating appearance. He uses his advanced technology and Loric powers to subdue the Gardes and the humans. Even with the heroes united, they realize they are facing a far superior enemy. However, the burst of Loric energy begins to show its effects, bringing hope that the tide may turn. The book culminates in a massive battle in New York. John 6, Marina 9-5, Sam and Adam finally come together, but they still struggle to defeat Cêpans Ra. They manage to deal a significant blow to the Mogadorian army, but victory is still far off. The story ends with the Gardes regrouping and vowing to continue fighting until the end. The Fate of 10 is an intense book full of action, loss, and hope. It expands the mythology of Lorien and shows that even in the face of impossible odds, courage and unity can make a difference. The war is not over, but the Gardes are ready to face whatever comes next. The story of United We Are One begins with the Gardes and their allies facing a global-scale invasion. The Mogadorian army, led by Cêpans Ra, dominates Earth, and the protagonists must act quickly to prevent the total destruction of the planet. The book follows this desperate resistance as the Gardes organize strategic attacks and attempt to unite humans and Loric in the fight for survival. John Smith, number 4, takes on a central role in the battle. Devastated by the death of Sarah, his beloved, John struggles to stay focused and transform into the leader the situation demands. The loss of Sarah haunts him, yet it also drives him to intensify his fight against the invaders. His determination to avenge and honor Sarah's memory leads him to command precise attacks, using his legacies to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Meanwhile, Adam, the traitorous Mogadorian, proves to be an ambiguous piece in this war. While providing crucial information about enemy technology, helping the Gardes exploit weaknesses in Mogadorian defenses, he also faces internal dilemmas. His loyalty is constantly questioned by those who do not fully trust him, but by demonstrating courage and commitment, Adam begins to walk a path of redemption, proving that not all Mogadorians share the same cruelty. At the same time, other members of the Gardes stand out on the front lines. 6, with her fearless demeanor, organizes assaults on enemy bases and uses her tactical intelligence to destabilize Cêpans Ra's forces. Marina, gifted with healing powers, faces the weight of loss, and amidst the pain, hones her skills, becoming a vital warrior for the resistance. 9 emerges as an impulsive and fierce fighter, willing to sacrifice everything for the cause, while 5, who once betrayed his companions, seeks redemption by fighting bravely to prove his loyalty. As the war intensifies, the Gardes discover the mysterious Lorelite stones. These artifacts allow teleportation, enabling surprise attacks on strategic points across the planet. However, each use of these dimensional portals exposes the fighters to unforeseen risks, increasing tension and danger with every leap between realities. During this critical period, John is tormented by disturbing visions in which he sees his friend Sam being tortured by the Mogadorians. This visual torment reinforces his urgency to end the war and demonstrates how personal suffering intertwines with the collective mission. Sam, initially a simple human ally without special powers, undergoes a surprising transformation. With the emergence of latent abilities, he becomes a key piece in the resistance strategy. His evolution symbolizes humanity's capacity to adapt and overcome, especially when faced with challenges of epic proportions. The turning point of the narrative occurs during the final battle at Cêpans Ra's base, located in West Virginia. Amid a scene of chaos and destruction, the Gardes and their human allies infiltrate the enemy defenses, facing not only an army of Mogadorians, but also monstrous creatures and the dreaded augmenteds, beings corrupted by Cêpans Ra's powers, who become nearly unbeatable adversaries. Each Garde, using their legacies in unique ways, shows that the strength of the resistance lies in both individual abilities and the unity of efforts. During the confrontation, Marina engages in a brutal duel against one of the Mogadorian generals, showcasing her evolution and the intensity of the sacrifice required to turn the tide of the war. At the climax of the conflict, John comes face to face with Cêpans Ra himself. The villain, already weakened by the battle, tries to seduce John with promises of power and absolute dominion, offering him a tempting alternative that could change the course of the war. However, John's integrity and willpower prevail. With the unwavering support of the other Garde, he delivers a final blow that culminates in the death of Cêpans Ra. This victory, though definitive, comes at a high cost. The Garde lose countless friends and allies, and the scars of the battle leave a deep mark on all who survived. With the fall of the Mogadorian leader, the invading forces collapse, and the war comes to an end. The world, now aware of the existence of the Loric and the threat posed by the Mogadorians, begins a painful but necessary process of rebuilding. John, exhausted and marked by tragedy, commits to training new Guard so that Earth will never face a similar invasion again. Marina 6-9 and the others continue their journeys, united by the unbreakable bond formed during the war. Adam, having earned the trust of his companions, decides to remain on Earth to assist in the rebuilding and integration of cultures, demonstrating that redemption is possible even for those who once seemed irredeemable. Beyond the immediate challenges, the victory over Cêpans Ra reveals new dilemmas. The discovery that humans can develop legacies raises questions about the role of the so-called Tals, legacy-affected Terrans. Governments and nations begin to closely observe this phenomenon, fearful of the potential side effects and instability such powers could generate. Sam, now one of the first to manifest these powers notably, becomes a symbol of this new era and a fundamental instructor for future warriors. Simultaneously, the young Ella emerges with surprising powers that surpass everyone's expectations. Her enigmatic connection to the essence of Lorien suggests that the fate of the Loric homeworld may still be intertwined with Earth's future, foreshadowing that new threats and challenges may arise. This possibility keeps the Guard on alert, ready to face not only known enemies, but also the unpredictable challenges of a world in constant transformation. In summary, United We Are One is an epic saga of struggle, sacrifice, and renewal. From the beginning, the narrative unfolds amidst a devastating invasion, where the union between different peoples and the strength of legacies prove essential for Earth's survival. Each character, with their unique traits and internal conflicts, contributes to a plot that highlights how true strength lies in collaboration and resilience in the face of adversity. The victory over Cêpans Ra, despite the heavy sacrifices, symbolizes the rebirth of a world that, even wounded, finds in diversity the key to a better future. As the Guard prepare for the challenges ahead and humanity cautiously faces the emergence of legacies, the central message remains. Only united can we transform the pain of the past into hope and build a new chapter in the history of the universe.